I find it interesting that I, for one, have just started to notice that Canada has a real leader in Stephen Harper. He is doing some really amazing things, including desperately trying to stop that country's decade-long left turn. We hear now that George Soros and his minions are setting up for Canadian invasion. This is great. We have Soros and liberals from America, MoveOn.org, the Tides Foundation, and labor unions. Oh, remember the board we just showed you a little while ago? All of these things funded in part by Soros money. And they're all pitching in to go across the border and help protest Canada's recent elections. Why? Because a Conservative majority was just elected in Canada's Parliament. So Stephen Harper now has a majority to work with to help him fix Canada. So what's the problem? Don't American liberals constantly scream about how much they love democracy? Yes, they do. Unless there's not enough of them to democratically shout down the opposition. Then they have to turn to the courts. And if the courts don't work, well, then they have to just turn to dictators. But whenever democracy works in their way, oh, then there's nothing better than democracy. Progressives and socialists have just gotten their grimy grip on the United States. They cannot lose their grip on Canada. That's why Stephen Harper must be stopped in their mind. Suddenly, it seems like the Canadian left is all fired up about one thing.
Using American-style dirty tricks. American-style dirty tricks.
American-style dirty tricks.
An American-style dirty trick?
Is American-style dirty tricks?
American-style dirty tricks.
I hate to use it, but two American-style dirty tricks.
Yeah, I don't think he does hate to use that. American-style dirty tricks. Wow, they're all on the same page, isn't it? These Canadian liberals are all upset and worried about American-style dirty tricks. It comes directly from the American left. Just as they do here in the United States, the left is actually responsible for the tricks that they're complaining about. In this case, robocalls, which, yeah, we hate them here in America, all the while the politicians complaining about them in Canada have aligned themselves with the U.S. groups using robocalls to urge people to contact Stephen Harper about the American-style dirty tricks in the election he just pulled off. It's good to see the left-wing hypocrisy doesn't stop at the U.S. border. Let me take a serious moment here and warn our Canadian friends. You are dealing with George Soros. We're dealing with him here. The man has billions of dollars and a wealth of experience overthrowing governments at his disposal. We know who this guy is. And once he and his money and his minions infect your system, you may never get them out. He will control your government. He will use pressure and scare tactics to control your industry, and he will control your press and eventually control and destroy everything you hold dear. We learned it ourselves. We have looked it up. We have learned it by reading his own words, and he learned it from the communist takeover in Hungary. And he's done it time and time again in country after country. In Asia, he's known as an economic terrorist. He's collapsed 5 currencies, and he'll collapse the Canadian dollar as well in the end. He'll do it. But it's not too late, Canada. Canadians, please, you're on the right track. This is one American who stands by your side to make sure you don't let some other grimy American come in and start kicking Canada around. You didn't make all of the banking errors and the housing errors that Soros and his minions encouraged and helped design here in America. You got it right. Know who and what you're up against. He has just about done something in America that the Nazis, the Soviets, and even Al-Qaeda couldn't do. Bring us down. He loses in the end. But you don't want to go through this. Do not let Soros fool you. Don't be duped. We're not talking about European socialism, which we as neighbors have been shouting over the fence back and forth and like, what are you guys doing? This is not that. This is a hostile takeover. His open society is something entirely different than the society the two of us enjoy. If you let this man and his far-left groups infect your system, it will be the worst decision you've made since letting Gretzky go, but I don't want to say any more. Trust me on this one. we know what we're talking about here in America.